Hey guys, PJ here, and today I want to add on something that Chris mentioned in his last vlog. Chris was basically talking about that film that he watched, that indie game video, and he was talking about working on smaller projects and stuff. And I wanted to talk about working on smaller projects compared to bigger projects because, you know, as a filmmaker, that's sort of a big thing that you deal with. Working on smaller projects, now that I've actually been here for about a year, my opinion on it is that working on smaller projects is awesome. Because once you get onto bigger projects, it's stressful. Bigger projects, there's more to deal with, not just creatively, but then there's also sort of more management stuff. Not to managing masses of people and making sure that they have their stuff done on time. It can get... Everyone wants to work on bigger projects because, like, oh, working on bigger projects means you're going to make the big time. And, okay, yeah, that's true. But the cool thing about smaller projects is that you get to refine your craft. When you're working on something smaller, it means that you can spend more time into making it the best it possibly can. Because there's less to work with, you can put more effort into those little bits. Unlike a bigger project where there's so much to put in that you get to a point where you just sort of, you're willing to put up with anything. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get into bigger projects. Bigger projects is where you're trying to head. But with smaller projects, you need to sort of know where you're at, and that gives you a really good sense. One thing I usually do all the time is think that I'm better at filmmaking than I actually am, and then I go to work on something too ambitious and I can't even get the project off the ground because I'm not good enough yet. So I can't get that quality of footage that I want quite yet. So I have to work on, tone it down and work on something small. I did a lot of this when I was applying for York University because I made 2 films in that time frame. I made Reflections with Chris, which was originally going to be my film that I was going to apply for, and it had stuff in it that I liked, but it also had a lot of stuff that I didn't like the tripod that I left in the background of one scene. I still regret that. After noticing that tripod, I knew I couldn't submit that film, and I knew that there was stuff I needed to work on in order to make a film that I was going to be impressed with and proud of. So with the feedback that I got from Reflections and in my general goal setting to get better, I came up with Goose, which had a lot of obvious storytelling influence behind it, but then there was also some really good cinematography I liked in it too. It was also more script-wise, and it was just overall a better film. When working on projects and sort of showing that growth, there's 2 things I like to keep in mind. Number 1 is collaboration, but don't just go out collaborating with everyone that you see right away. Start with just 1 or 2 people, get a project done, and then you sort of start to build from there. Because once you get too many people working on something, it just falls apart. Just work with people until that you get used to working with them and you know that they'll work well, and you can slowly just add people onto that, and then your projects will get bigger and better. The second thing I like to keep in mind is also it's not just enough to improve your skill at the craft that you're doing, like if you're making a game or if you're making a movie, but you also have to market it. Not just to your friends and family, because actually giving it to your friends and family is not a good idea because they'll tell you either what you want to hear or everything you don't want to hear. Give it to someone that you either know a little bit or don't know at all, and they'll give you the most honest opinion you possibly can get about what you have. Because they're technically your audience. And not only will they give you the proper feedback, but they'll also serve as your audience. Because you want to show it to people that you don't know or know a little bit. You just want to get it outside of your group of friends. Because they'll like it. Your mom will like it, your best friend will like it, your girlfriend will like it. But if no one else likes it, then it's not really... And also marketing is just a good skill too, because you can make something that's crappy, but if you can market it well, you'll still get revenue from it, or people will still like it, and they're like, oh, it's still good. And you're like, no, it's not. The best example of like those skills that I said was actually Ricky does the best, I think. He maybe keeps it a little bit into a group of friends so much, but when he's submitting stuff to Newgrounds, like he gets feedback back on those games or Flash movies and stuff like that, and he does take it into account. I hope. Better. Me and him have collaborated, although we never got too much out together because we just never lived in the same city. But if we did, we probably would get something awesomely done. And of course, I collaborated with Chris quite a bit. I get him to act in all my movies. And some of you guys have acted in my movies, so I collaborate with you guys. I'm collaborating with Kevin and stuff right now. We've actually finished editing our location shoot. My script got approved, so I'll be shooting that with Kevin. I'll be shooting it, Kevin will be editing it. I think that's all I got to say about the subject. So keep it small, keep it small, keep it obtainable. Don't get too many people involved, and just get a product out there, and just keep building on your skill. Find out where you are and just keep building on it. And then it'll be awesome to see how you grow over that course of time. Anyway, it's been another Witty Wednesday. PJ signing off.